Hello everybody, Zun Getsu 134 here.
And as always, I'm Average Joe Squad.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Hyphen, the show where I look at comic books, movies, and everything in between. It's my birthday month, and originally we were going to do a whole month of RoboCop, but that's not going to happen because I actually didn't realize I didn't own 2 or 3. I own the first one and I own the remake, which I bought for $5 at Big Lots.
I own the original on VHS.
We will be doing RoboCop 1 this month. I'll have to try and find 2 and 3 for us to do, because we sure as hell ain't both buying 2 and 3. But until then, I figured we would do...
Unless I get a good deal on them on tape somewhere.
Yeah. But until then, I figured we'd do one of my other favorite films. So we're going to do this, and we're going to do RoboCop this month. But for now, we're going to do one of my other favorite films. It's a really great gory horror comedy film made by Lord of the Rings guy and...
Peter Jackson?
Yeah, Peter Jackson. Yeah, this is actually made by Peter Jackson. It's Dead Alive, or as it's known around the rest of the world as Braindead. I forget exactly why they couldn't use the name. I want to say there's another movie called Braindead.
Probably some weird cover. It's kind of like why Zombie is called something else over here. Look up James Rolfe's Chronologically Confused video for more info on that.
So yeah, this movie was made. I forget exactly when. It's only 97 minutes too. It's only like an hour and 30. Well, basically, it was made in like the late 80s. It's one of the first films he made. It's actually one of the ones that got him really popular and would eventually get him to be a filmmaker over in the States, because he actually filmed this.
There's no copyright on that.
He filmed this in New Zealand before coming to America. He also filmed one with Michael J. Fox in it, where it's about like ghosts. That one I've never seen, but. And basically, due to how popular these movies were, he ended up becoming a very popular filmmaker. I actually came across this due to Linkara from Atop the Fourth Wall when he showed the scene, one of my favorite scenes in this movie with the kung fu priest who says, "I kick ass for the Lord."
Which, listen, that came in, and I was like, what the fuck?
To be fair, there's a lot of what the fuck in this movie. Okay, so... Fair warning, we're going to be talking about a pretty gory, dark film, so if you're squeamish or you don't like that kind of thing, I understand if you turn off, but basically, I just kind of want to give my thoughts on the film before we really get into it. So I really like a good, gory, dark comedy like this every once in a while. I usually like to watch this like around Halloween or, when I'm in the mood for it. And I think it's really funny. I definitely think it's one of those kind of dark humor things that you either like or you don't. You might like this if you're a fan of Zombieland, which...
it came out in 1992.
Oh, 92. Oh, well, I take it back. It was 92. So, like, if you like Zombieland, I think you'll definitely like this, but, like, if you're not a big fan of, like, gore or, like... Or kind of, like, dark humor, this might not be for you. I think Zombieland's actually a little bit tame compared to this movie. But I do kind of prefer this over Zombieland, just because, like, I think it's... a little bit more zany and kind of more what I feel like, because I think Zombieland in a few places gets a little bit too actual zombie film to be like a zombie comedy.
Yeah.
But what are your like initial thoughts before we kind of decide?
So I went into this movie like having no background info. I've never heard of this fucking movie.
Yeah.
I've never even heard you do this. I kick ass for the Lord shit. I was like,
really? I feel like I've done this.
No, I've never heard you say this.
Oh,
At least
sorry,
not
dude.
that I can remember. So I went in totally blind, and like it starts out like. I'm gonna be honest. Like I was kind of bored in the beginning, like because I was just like, my god, like
it is a bit of a slow burn. I will grant you that it's a bit of a slow burn.
And then like once it got going, I started getting the comedy, like the one German doctor was like a fucking Nazi.
He is, because when his coat
I
rips
told
off,
him I forgot the papers.
like
no,
papers. Mein Gott.
That I found funny.
Yeah.
And then. Just the fucking over the top gore everywhere. Like there were some parts in this where even I was like,
yeah,
like, I can watch war movies all the time and like barely cringe at them. And then like some of the stuff in this, I was like, oh Jesus Christ, why?
Well,
I wasn't prepared.
To be fair, I forgot that you don't like needles, and I knew there were going to be scenes of him like, because the zombies are okay. They're technically voodoo based because like the rat monkeys are.
So it's like white zombie basically.
Yeah, and he tranquilizes them by taking, I guess, horse tranquilizer. I don't know what tranquilizer it is, and shoving a syringe up their nose.
Just some generic tranquilizer,
and injecting the tranquilizer into their brains. And I forgot that, which I am sorry about. I forgot that you don't like needles. It was.
No, you're fine.
It was rough. Even I don't like that part. I'm like, oh.
Listen, taking me to get a shot is a fucking ordeal.
Yeah. Okay, so the basic premise is about this little town in New Zealand, and this mainly this guy that lives there named Lionel, and his mother, and he falls in love with this woman that works at one of the because it takes place in 1957, and it.
I could actually recognize most of the cars in that. Like there were some Nashes in there.
Yeah, it looks really like 57. Although
it looks very much like the part.
I didn't realize that like trolleys were like a big thing in New Zealand because like they had like these trolleys are going around. Like it was pretty interesting. But basically, Lionel falls in love with this woman named Paquita, who runs the grocery store, or like the general store that's there. She falls in love with him because her grandmother reads tarot cards and is like, oh, this man's going to fall in love with... You're going to fall in love with this man. You'll know the sign. And so, like, she falls with him, and she kind of, like, with her weird charm, tricks him into going to the zoo with her, which, I mean, granted, it doesn't take much trickery. She was pretty fine looking in this movie.
Yeah.
And so basically, he goes to the zoo with her, but his mother, who's very controlling and overbearing, follows them because she wants to make sure that, he doesn't leave her. It gets very rock the cradle slowly if you...
Yeah.
But basically they come across this monkey, which the zoo got from Sumatra, known as the Sumatran rat monkey. Which
it's from Skull Island. Which, I'm like, yes, Peter Jackson, I understand the Kong reference.
Yeah, which, not only does he bring the Kong reference up there, but when he makes King Kong, you can actually see the rat monkey in shots during the Skull Island scenes in the Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Yeah.
And basically this...
Which I saw that movie so fucking long ago.
Yeah.
I want to say I saw that when it came out.
I wouldn't mind us reviewing it, but that movie's so long. It's like 3 hours. Like, why did you feel the need to make this movie 3 hours? But
because isn't it the original? Doesn't it clock in at just like under like 2
barely,
hours?
Yeah, like I don't even think it's like barely 2 hours. And so basically the thing after killing a poor monkey, that poor monkey didn't deserve any of that, and eating its tail? I forget exactly what, but like basically Lionel's mother gets bit by the thing, and he takes her home, and basically the thing turns her into a zombie, and Lionel tries to help her, but then she starts killing people, and because he doesn't really want to kill his mother because she's the only family he has left, but also she keeps killing things and making more zombies. So basically Lionel's trying to keep the zombies from getting out, while at the same time, like, the people around him are starting to kind of suspect what happens, particularly his uncle who wants to get his inheritance. So that's the basic premise. So what were your what would you say would be like the highlights for you for this film?
The highlights of this probably, like, in terms of just stuff I enjoyed, really.
Yeah, enjoyed. Like, maybe you want to talk about like the effects or anything you thought was really well done.
I got one word for you. Lawnmower.
Oh yeah, the lawnmower scene is one of my favorite.
Oh my god, the lawnmower scene is the funniest shit I have ever seen.
Yeah, so like, towards the end of the film, like, basically, Lionel's uncle invites all these people into a party, because basically he finds the dead corpses, and he goes into thinking that, like, it's, like, Lionel's a necrophiliac? Which he's not. And basically he blackmails Lionel into letting him have the estate in the house. But he won't let Lionel leave until he signs the house and the money over. Well, basically, everybody in the house gets infected by the zombies except for Lionel and Paquita. And basically, things are starting to go south. Lionel gets thrown through a door, and he comes back in with this push mower that he straps to his chest and then proceeds to just start...
Party's over.
Party's over. He just starts...
like he's fucking Arnold, like...
Yeah.
Cool party.
Or like Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead, where he's just like, groovy. But, are you looking at Captain America movies right now?
I'm talking to Jared.
Sorry.
Shout out to Jared. We want to get him on the show, but he doesn't want...
He doesn't want it.
Which fair.
Fair.
I can understand.
No, that's really, really, probably definitely one of the best parts of this film.
Also, fuck that baby.
Oh, the zombie
God,
baby that the zombie priest and the zombie nurse.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Other than that, the best part of the movie by far is Mr. I Kick Ass with a lawn.
Oh, yeah. Or no, because basically Lionel has to go and dig up his mom because he knows that she's going to eventually get out of the grave. So he's basically going to dig her up, sedate her, and get her back to the house. Well, these greasers, these 1950 greasers, straight out of, like, Grease.
Coming straight out of Grease.
Or
Where's
like
the motherfucking name Swayze?
They attack him, and then Lionel's mom comes out of the grave, and like she like bites a dude's dick off, and like devours the dude's chest. Well, basically, the priest, who I guess lives right by the grave in the graveyard, is like, "What the devilry is going on here? Stay back, lad. Some demons are afoot." And then he proceeds to kung fu fight the zombies. I kick ass for the Lord.
He said that. I'm just sitting over here like, I'm like. I had to like actually sit there like, did he really just fucking say that?
I kick ass for the Lord. Which sadly he doesn't end up. He manages to kill a couple of them, but then like he gets bit, and then one of the zombies throws him on top of this grave, and it like impales him through the chest, which then proceeds to him getting to the zombie priest falling for the zombie nurse, which causes them to bang and then have a zombie baby.
Which at that point, like mind you, like he's sitting there laughing at it. I'm sitting here the whole time, like looking at him, like,
yeah, he's a little disturbed by me, like
you really put this on my fucking TV.
Oh, don't act like you didn't enjoy this. But yeah, like there's a lot of really good gore effects in this. I think that like
definitely the special effects like are really good.
Especially because this movie did not have a budget. I want to say it barely had like a couple $500,000.
$3 million according to Wikipedia.
$3 million? Oh well.
Apparently, it's the most expensive movie he made up to that point.
Oh, okay, I actually didn't know how much money, but I mean, still $3 million is
in terms of like movies nowadays.
Is not very much.
Chump change.
Like the gore, I think, is really well done.
Granted, if anybody wants to offer us $3 million to make Remember the Hyphen, we will gladly accept.
Yeah, totally.
Get some new equipment.
But like I think the effects are really great, and I think a lot of the machinery that's in it, like the embalming machine in the one scene, just the scenery itself looks really, really good. Like you could tell this movie was this movie looks like it's 1950s. Like it just looks overall really, really good. If I were to say anything about this movie that I take issue with, it's probably the beginning scene with the natives when the guy's getting the Sumatran rat monkey. Because I'm like,
oh, yeah, casual '90s racism.
And don't get me wrong, I think the whole point of that was supposed to look like a '50s movie. So they even make the natives look like what you would expect in a '50s movie.
Yeah.
At the same time, though,
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah. Then it takes so long to get into the zombie stuff. I don't mind slow burns, but and I don't think it's as bad here. But I get what you're saying. It does take a while to get to the first zombie in the movie. Say what you will about Night of the Living Dead or other zombie films. At least they
throw you right in. Here you go.
Now, I mean, granted, some of the really kind of little too vile stuff the part where they explain how the Sumatran rat monkeys came to be, which we won't talk about here because it's a little messed up. But because there's some jokes and stuff. I'm I feel wouldn't really fly if it weren't a European or New Zealand film.
Yeah.
The part where the zombie priest and the zombie nurse are banging and the uncle's like, "Is that one of your father's stag films?" I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of the cinematography in this? I thought it was.
The camera angles were definitely interesting. You had kind of the stereotypical, camera angles, the stock stuff, and then there were a couple angles in there that I was like, wow, I wouldn't have really thought of that. If I were making a movie, I wouldn't have really thought of doing a camera angle like that.
I like the shot where they, even though it's kind of gross, the shot where they show Lionel's uncle taking a piss and they shoot it from the angle of him taking a piss.
Yeah.
To kind of give you this feeling of how gross and messed up he is.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the shots where they surprisingly were able to get underneath like the lawnmower. Like when they showed the lawnmower at the beginning when he's mowing, and then like they would show like it was actually
It almost looks like they like cracked it up. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
like and put it on top of like a screen or something.
Yeah.
The music's kind of okay. It's kind of stock, but like
I don't think the music was really something they gave a shit about.
yeah, which is kind of a shame because I think if they did a little bit more, I think the soundtrack could have been pretty well done. Although admittedly, while I say all the effects are pretty good, some of the shots of the baby are not very good. Like you can tell a lot of the times when it's just a dude in a suit instead of like the puppet or like
Yeah.
or like the dog. Because then like he's clearly like it grew like five sizes. Although I do speaking of the baby, that I told you about this, but I love the scene where he's taking the baby out for a walk.
Yeah, that shit. Where he's in the carriage.
Which is hilarious
because that was funny as fuck.
Because he actually has like barbed wire over the baby. But like there's a couple scenes with once the baby gets out where it's crawling and you can clearly tell it's like a dude in a suit. But that scene was actually the last scene they filmed. Because I think like basically they needed like a scene to branch between him breaking up or them introducing the baby and them seeing like him seeing Paquita with the other guy that works at her store. And so basically they took him and the baby prop and they shot a couple scenes in this park. You know, hired some stunt double or some, you know, like side actors and they just that scene is so great because like I love the guy who plays Lionel because like he's really funny in this movie. Like he is really good at like playing like this kind of pushover guy, but at the same time like his acting is really, really good. He's really funny. Like the part where like his mom eats Paquita's dog. Your mom ate my dog. Not all of it. like he's
like some of that dry humor.
Yeah, like where he's just like, or the scene where she sees him across the street with the tranquilizer, and it looks like he hid with the like he got onto the trolley and like disappeared.
Yeah.
And then the car moves away and he's hiding behind the car. I dropped the shilling, I think.
Yes.
Do you have any other
like I think I covered the ones that really kind of stood out to me. Like the whole movie itself was enjoyable once it got going.
Yeah.
But like the ones I mentioned were definitely to me the standout pieces.
Yeah. Though I also kind of I will admit I think sometimes if you're not really prepared for the gore in this, like the scene where with the pudding, and she squirts blood into the dude's pudding and he just keeps eating the pudding, or when her ear falls in the pudding and she eats the ear.
Yeah, that shit kind of disgusted me. I was like, okay.
I mean, granted, like I get why it's a zombie film. You know, you have to accept that zombies are going to eat flesh.
Yeah.
I think some of the zombies were creative, like when the zombie like his organs all fall out and the organs come to life and they start chasing Lionel, or Lionel's uncle when he becomes a zombie and his head got ripped off but like his spine was still connected, so he like walked around like a monster, and then Paquita rips his head off and spins it around. Yeah, the problem is a lot of the actors, like, except for like Paquita, Lionel, his uncle, and like the priest, they're really kind of just background characters.
Yeah.
Like, because like they had this budget, like
they're just not really the focus of the movie.
Yeah, like so because they had this budget, so they couldn't have a lot of really big actors. Well, I shouldn't say big actors, but like actors that like had like a lot of screen time because they're probably paying them by the minute. Would you say that you would compare this to like what other zombie films would you think you could compare this to if you
kind of like Dawn of the Dead almost?
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead, or
maybe even Night of the
Living Dead, because there's not really a lot of zombies until the very end. Like there's very few, and like it makes sense. Let's see where I was going to go.
I still enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Walking Dead.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this more than Walking Dead. I brought up Zombieland. What were your thoughts about like comparing this to Zombieland?
I've actually never seen Zombieland.
Have you never seen Zombieland?
No.
Okay. Like I said,
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Like I said, I find that movie funny, but like, it's supposed to be like this comedy, but like a lot of times when you're watching it, like you kind of sometimes forget it's a comedy because like they're playing it much more straight.
Yeah.
Like it's more about like these funny characters in a zombie apocalypse, and I think like kind of being like a spoof of zombie movies. I just want this to be super short. what did you think about the twist with Lionel's father and
That kind of came out of nowhere for me, where I was kind of like, okay, like that makes sense, but like I feel like it wasn't it. I'm trying to think of the right way to word this.
it wasn't nearly as set up?
There wasn't a lot of setup to it, so it kind of just came out like, oh yeah, that was a thing.
I kind of get where, because like the way I see it, like, because like Lionel was told all his life that his
like I mean, like, there's like a couple of hints to it throughout the film, but like
yeah,
they're so disjointed and it's like so separate than the rest of the movie that you kind of just forget about it until it gets to that part. And you're like, oh yeah, okay.
yeah, especially because like like there's huge swaths of this film where like they don't show like the scenes, and then we get to the end where like not only does Lionel figure out like due to like magic, is that magic charm that he has like points into the direction of the like he literally spends like a good portion of the climax just sitting up there looking through these photos, which are a little bit hilarious because like it's with his father's mistress and he pulls out like a sausage and like it's supposed to be like this weird innuendo thing. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But it just kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it really does.
Like that's just how it kind of comes off.
Yeah. Especially because like the themes of this movie is like learning to let go and to like not always be under the control of somebody else, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it feels like Lionel like for all the comedy, which I enjoy, I do think that some of the plot gets a little bit lost because like you're sitting there and you see the part where he's trying to unscrew the coffin and then like him and his mom like they get flung into the funeral and you're like, okay. And then like it, but then like you have this really emotional ending and it's just like, oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I forgot to bring this up. I actually like how like Jackson will like interlace like radio or like someone talking like the sermon, and actually interlace it with the scene you're actually seeing.
Yeah.
Like when he's fighting.
He does that in a lot of stuff. He actually has a documentary. Which I'm actually saying he has a Beatles doc coming out soon.
Oh really?
That was supposed to come out last year. It's about Let It Be. Like remember how I told you the Beatles Let It Be movie wasn't like ever re-released really? Well, he's doing a documentary on like the sessions for that. That I'm kind of interested in. But he has another doc called They Will Never Grow Old, which is about World War One, and it's told exclusively through like letters soldiers wrote in World War One.
Really? That's actually
cool.
It's
it's kind of cool to see like even like back then he kind of has that way he can kind of blend different media together to kind of like interlace it.
Yeah, because
do a coherent product.
Like I love that scene where Paquita's trying to like put a night bag together for Lionel's mother, and he's fighting the zombies, and like you hear like the smashing and stuff, and then she hears the radio. She's like, "Oh, it's just the radio."
Yeah.
Or like when he's watching the radio to try and make her leave, and you actually hear like the guy's like, "I want you to go, my young lad," and then she goes.
Yeah.
Like I like that. That was some really clever cinematography. Like for as much as I joke about how this is a really gross comedy, there's a lot of really, really good things you can see if you really are into Peter Jackson. You can see that he uses. So I actually would recommend this to Peter Jackson fans. Like even if you're like not like a big zombie guy, like I think you would get a lot of out of this if you want to see some of his earlier works.
Yeah, I would certainly agree to that as well.
I like to see some of his earlier works because like, and oddly enough, a lot of them are horror themed, which like I think is one of his charms because like he can use like his horror like filmography to like balance out when he's not doing that kind of filmography, and I think it makes for very solid films. What do you think of the effects for like the his mom turning into like a giant monster?
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because like I actually kind of think it was interesting, especially because like they have the effects of making her look really big, as like while like they're trying to get away up the stairs. I was always wondering how they did that. I assume they just kind of overlaid some shots, but that and I actually like how it like is slowly falling apart to reveal she's turning into a giant rat monkey. Although admittedly the part where he has to rip himself out of the womb, I was like,
it's a little heavy. Did Zack Snyder direct?
Yeah, I can't wait for the Snyder cut at Braindead.
I'm so glad the Snyder cut has just become a joke. I mean, it always was a joke.
Well, yeah, but then he had to be like, well, what if I had the Joker be Jesus?
Which I'm not looking forward to watching that fucking
movie.
No,
I'm not either. That comes out pretty soon, too. I think it comes out the 12th.
I think so. It comes out, I think it's next week on HBO Max, which I finally have good enough internet we can watch the damn thing. But
Yeah, it's gonna be real fun after I get to go to the dentist next week too.
I don't worry. I'll come in. You'll be like, ready to watch the Snyder Cut? And I'll whip out a big bottle of Jack. Be like, yep.
Yeah. Which we're filming this in March, but this will come out in April. Just so you, because I think we do have.
We're way ahead of schedule.
We're way ahead of schedule, which I actually like because
there's a little wiggle room to plan stuff.
Room, yeah. So yeah, I guess we could kind of wrap this up. I'm sorry this is a little bit short, but like, we can't really just go scene by scene because then it's just us talking about like how funny a scene is or like.
Well, I've always felt that like the best thing about a review is that you make people want to go actually watch it. You know.
Yeah, you guys should go see this because I like this is easily available. I think you can get this on like Amazon for like $5.
I will actually double check for our fine viewers.
Yeah, like because, which I would like to get it on Blu-ray eventually, but I'm not entirely sure if it. Dead Alive and it gives you like vitamins.
Yes.
If it doesn't come up like this, you might want to look up Brain. Oh no,
it's on. I want $59 for the DVD.
Oh wow, I guess it's
on Prime Video though. Actually, no, it's not on Prime Video.
Well, I didn't think it was that expensive.
Yeah, you can get it used $14.
I was gonna say I got this like for $14 back in the day.
It's on VHS tape too. You gotta remember the ones we're seeing. That's like the brand new.
Gotcha.
Ship it to you.
Well, then I wouldn't be surprised if because of the fact that it's from a like New Zealand or European, like you're probably gonna have to import it. But it looked like also there was a collection where it came with like all of Peter Jackson's like early work. That was kind of cool. I do think you can actually watch this on YouTube
Which is what I'm also double checking for people. Yep, it is on YouTube and in its entirety for free.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So yeah.
Can't argue with free.
Yeah, like I really do recommend watching this. Maybe if you don't want to watch it this April, I would say watch it for Halloween. You definitely it's a great film to watch at Halloween if you want something silly.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Okay, so we might as well get into the ratings. What is your rating for this film?
Out of 10, I'm gonna give it a firm 7.5 monkeys.
I actually am going to give this movie an 8. An 8 out of 10. I won't make as you point out, it's a little slow, but like once it gets going, it's a solid, funny picture. It may not be for everybody, and I'm fully willing to admit it's a little darker than I think a lot of people would expect of my humor. I certainly don't think you expected it to be like.
Dude, let's be honest. Like between the two of us, our sense of humor is pretty fucked. As I always like to tell people,
you're not wrong.
Like our sense of humor is pretty fucked when we want it to be.
Yeah. But yeah, because I remember I've shown this to a couple people. I've shown this to one of my roommates in college.
Millie rocking the chickens. God damn it. Inside joke.
Inside joke. It's just you making that joke. But
you know what I mean, though.
I know what you mean. Because I've shown this to roommates in college. I actually when I was in a film club, I actually brought this and showed. Probably my mistake, but I was like, I thought this was fun, and everyone looked at me like
the fuck is wrong with you?
But yeah,
buying Spider-Man Rain
right now.
Boo this man.
Yeah.
Look, this guy's buying Rain. See,
nobody cares. Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely. I recommend this, especially if you're a zombie guy, or if you like kind of dark horror comedy. I think this is definitely a solid one. It's certainly better than something like, say, My Boyfriend's Dead or My Boyfriend's Back, which that movie's ass.
Don't tell Mom the babysitter's dead.
Don't tell Mom the babysitter's dead. Weekend at Bernie's. That does not mean we're not doing Weekend at Bernie's for my birthday.
What about for my birthday?
It's fine if you want to do it for your birthday. No, we're gonna save that. We're gonna save that for the 100th.
It's gonna be 100 episodes of Weekend at Bernie's.
We want it so bad, we'll do it for the 100th epised.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Hashtag release the Bernie cut.
We're watching both of them though. I hope you know. We're gonna watch it and the second one where he's brought back to life with the voodoo magic.
I'm fine with that. But anyway,
I think that wraps it up for this episode. Sorry it's a little short, but like
after the 2-hour Doug special.
Yeah, no, after the 2-hour Doug special, which oh my god, that's coming out soon. Yeah,
I'm curious to see how many people actually managed to get through that.
Especially because like I'm gonna have to watch that again just to make sure we don't have any audio hiccups when it uploads. But until then, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Look more for some more other. I got some other ideas for April, although we might be doing one that's not really a birthday idea, but whatever. Until then, guys, I hope you enjoy this. And as always, I'm Zongetsu134.
And I'm Average Joe Squad.
And we ask you.
Remember the Hyphen?
And take care.
And remember, we kick Hyphen for the Lord.